Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. So we're diving into a really wild, highly suspenseful true story today. We're going to look at how a completely ordinary, quiet town survived what could have been a catastrophic afternoon, all thanks to a seriously unexpected hero. Let's get right into it.
Can an untrained family pet save an entire town? Think about it for a second. Usually when we think of emergency prevention, our minds go straight to things like blaring sirens, highly sensitive smoke detectors, or 911 dispatchers. We definitely don't factor in the goofy family dog. But today's Explainer hinges on exactly that scenario. We're going to break down a super high-stakes afternoon where literally the only barrier between a whole neighborhood and total destruction was an everyday household pet. To really understand how crazy this got, we have to start with the town of Maple Creek itself. Picture your classic, quiet American town where life just moves a little slower. It is the absolute definition of a peaceful status quo. Literally nobody was on high alert and no one was expecting a crisis. And honestly, that peaceful, sleepy mindset, that's exactly why this massive impending threat went completely unnoticed by every single human in the area.
Okay, so let's meet our main guys here. 12-year-old Ryan and his golden dog, Max. Now, I want to be super clear about something. Max was not a police dog. He wasn't some highly conditioned canine unit bred for search and rescue or sniffing out fires. Not even close. Max was just a loyal, everyday companion, whose absolute biggest daily priority was just following a 12-year-old boy around the house. Keeping that total lack of formal training in mind is absolutely vital, because it makes the sheer, raw instinct of what he's about to do so much more impressive. The whole thing kicks off on a really hot, sticky summer afternoon. You know the kind. Dark clouds start rolling heavily across the sky, and there's this sudden, noticeable shift in the weather. The locals in Maple Creek took one look at those clouds and immediately brushed them off as just another typical summer storm. They completely rationalized away any sense of danger. But while the humans were just shrugging off the weather, our untrained golden dog was picking up on something entirely different.
Max's behavior escalates, and I mean fast. First, he starts barking nonstop. When that doesn't get the job done, he starts frantically pacing, just running from the front door back to Ryan, practically begging for his attention. And Ryan's initial reaction? He literally just laughed it off. He told him, "Relax, buddy. We've all been there, right?" But then Max does something completely out of character. He actually grabs Ryan's shirt in his teeth and forcibly pulls him outside. This was not normal pet behavior anymore. This was pure, urgent instinct to taking the wheel.
Once they get outside, the situation goes from 0 to 100. Max doesn't just stop in the front yard to sniff the grass. He starts running with this intense purpose straight toward the edge of town, effectively forcing Ryan to chase him right into the unknown. It's a complete role reversal. Ryan is no longer the owner taking his dog for a walk. He's being led by an animal whose instincts are just screaming that something is terribly, terribly wrong. And that relentless pull, it brought them directly to the source of the danger.
And boom! Here is the terrifying discovery. As Ryan gets dragged to the edge of town, he finally sees what Max had somehow sensed from all the way inside their house. There is this massive, billowing column of smoke just roaring into the sky. It wasn't a summer storm at all. Smoke was pouring out of an old warehouse located right next to the local gas station. An accidental fire had started and it had gone completely undetected by the entire town.
Now, a massive warehouse fire is definitely dangerous enough on its own. But here's where we get to the real nightmare scenario: the wind. Those strong summer gusts were actively pushing the flames directly toward a highly explosive target, the gas station. It was literally the worst possible combination. You've got out-of-control fire, strong directional winds, and a massive quantity of combustible fuel. This thing was escalating from a standard structural fire to a neighborhood-level disaster in seconds.
Let's actually break down the timeline of how this disaster was prevented, because the margins here are insanely tight. At minute 0, Ryan spots the smoke and instantly calls 911. By minute 1, all that commotion brings the neighbors rushing out into the street. At minute 5, which is a remarkably rapid response time by the way, firefighters are on the scene fighting the blaze. And then, minute 10, the absolute critical milestone. The flames are successfully stopped just short of the gas station, just 10 minutes from discovery to containment. To put that into perspective, if minute 0 had been delayed by even a fraction, that gas station was going up.
The terrifying reality of just how close they came to total disaster was summed up perfectly by the firefighters on the scene. They said if nobody noticed those flames early, this whole neighborhood could have been in serious danger. That gives you chills, right? The professionals themselves freely admitted that a standard emergency response just wasn't going to be fast enough for this specific threat. The entire neighborhood's safety relied 100% on the fact that an alarm was raised before the fire even became visible to the rest of the town.
Which leads to this really fascinating, kind of beautiful moment in the aftermath. The town's immediate assumption was that Ryan, the 12-year-old kid who called 911, was the mastermind hero who saved the day. Everyone is rushing over, wanting to thank him. But Ryan? He just smiles, points right down at his dog, and sets the record straight. He says no, he saw it first. Ryan completely shifted the credit away from himself and right onto the actual four-legged early warning system that alerted him in the first place.
The town, understandably, was absolutely blown away, and they made sure to recognize exactly what had happened. A week later, the mayor organizes this big official event. I mean, think about that for a second. This totally untrained family pet, who just a few days ago was just a 12-year-old boy's shadow, is brought up on stage to receive a shiny medal. The local kids are cheering, news reporters are coming in from all over to cover it, and Max gets officially dubbed the dog who saved the entire town.
But honestly, amidst all the shiny medals, the flashing news cameras, and the loud mayoral speeches, the true resolution of this story is so much quieter. Ryan just kneels down, scratches behind Max's ears, smiles, and says, "Good boy." And Max, he's just wagging his tail like it's any other normal Tuesday. Because to Max, this wasn't about civic duty. He didn't care about being a town savior. He just knew his best friend was in danger, and his natural instincts took over.
And that brings us to the absolute core takeaway of this entire explainer. Heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they have four legs. We spend so much time, effort, and money engineering these massive, complex solutions to keep ourselves safe, right? But this story is such a cool reminder that nature has its own deeply ingrained, highly sensitive alarm systems. A totally untrained golden retriever managed to detect and act on a massive crisis faster than anyone else in Maple Creek.
Which leaves us with a final thought I really want you to ponder today. Who are the everyday, unrecognized heroes in your own life? We so often look right past the quiet, unassuming presences around us. Just like the residents of Maple Creek looked right past what they thought was a simple summer storm. And hey, just like Ryan almost ignored his barking dog, what unassuming sentinels might be looking out for you right now? Take a look around today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.